Okay, so just kind of covering what we had to do this week. This week you only have two things that are due, but they're pretty important things. Your student created form validation project, and I'm going to go over that in a little more detail, and then your chapter 6 test. So that test, you need to review any of the previous quizzes that you have. So this review quiz, this validate form quiz, and then these section quizzes from the week before. Okay, so nothing from this week, nothing from the Dawn challenges because we had chapter 5 test already, but any quiz for the week of March 30th through April 3rd, the week of April 6th through April 10th, review those quizzes to help you study for the test. Now, and I'm going to continue to do this for the rest of our tests. I'm trying to figure out ways that we can make our tests secure because I can't install Lockdown Browser on your computers at home because that's a Northwest software. So for this test, you will not be able to see your answers until everyone completes the test, okay? If you do have questions about an individual question or something on the test, you feel free to email me. But this is just some way that we can help with the security of the test. Y'all can't see my screen at all, can you? I'm terrible at, hold on. I'm terrible at Zoom, y'all. Share screen. There we go. This whole time I was pointing to things and showing you things, and I wasn't even sharing my screen. So did anyone have questions about the test part? Okay, Braden, your face is showing up. Did you want to hide for the video? Okay. So more about the project. If you notice, I put up a rubric. Has everyone had a chance to look at the rubric for the project? Good. So use this rubric to help you walk through the guidelines that I'm grading for, okay? So I feel like I kind of know where everyone's at, where your level's at of programming. So I just really want to see you challenging yourself. The project, if you've challenged yourself, the project doesn't have to be perfect, okay? If I see that you have done, went above and beyond, you've tried to impress me, you're not going to get a bad grade. But I just want you to try new techniques and see what you can do. This is like the tinker component. You remember how I'm always talking about let's tinker, let's tinker. This is your opportunity to tinker and see what you can come up with, okay? Does anyone have any questions about the rubric? Okay, I'm not going to read it to you because, you know, that would be a very boring Zoom call. So in the last call, I meant to go over this. This was a project that we created last year in JavaScript. And this was just some different options. You know, you can see radio buttons and see this kind of just displays it down at the bottom. Of course, this needs CSS. It's just a blank page. But in here, these checkboxes, you can select two, you can enter those and they'll display here, or you can change your selections like with a reset button. So that could be something you could consider having on your page. Another thing that I want you to think about for these controls, things like your attributes of your controls are things like the value or the ID or the class or the name or something like that. But there's lots of attributes that we just haven't had time to go over in detail. So don't be afraid to go to W3C schools and look for that particular control and find out what its properties are, okay? So for example, you know, we can get the value of a checkbox. We can know if it's checked. You know, the dot checked will set or return whether it's checked or not. But there's also things like disabled. So maybe you want to have, once the user selects something, the rest of things become disabled. You can do that with the dot disabled. Now I've got an example of that up here. So for these check boxes, this one I can't select. See, I can select all these, but I can't select that one. And that is because I did disabled. Okay, so I just set disabled to true, and that means you can't select it. With this project, this is the project that I was showing you with the menu. Something that they did that may be helpful to you, and this, you know, take it or leave it. Anish mentioned that he had lots of IDs on his project, and then that becomes very difficult when you're addressing this one and that one. Look at what they did with their IDs in this checkbox group. So they started their IDs at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So then they could use a loop to access them. So now they have a loop for 7, and that's going to go through and get those IDs and allow you to have those options like have it show below. Okay, so those are just some different options. You don't have to do that, take it or leave it. It's just something there in case that's something that you want to do. Okay, any questions? Okay, I'm gonna go over a few more things before I stop the video for everyone else, and then I want us to talk about some things specifically. Okay, we are almost finished. Now, Oxford, you guys have resumed school, so I'm assuming y'all are going for the rest of your normal school year, but because this is a dual enrollment class, we go by Northwest schedule. So for this class, we only have 2 full weeks of school left. 2 weeks, okay? So next week, we're gonna look at Chapter 7, Object-Oriented JavaScript. We're gonna look at classes, which is kind of cool. We're gonna work with the date constructor, and we'll work with the math object, and we're gonna do some fun stuff with that. So in the next 2 weeks, that's kind of gonna be our main focus. We'll take a test over that chapter, and then your final exam will be on Intergalactic Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. Where's your final exam? My husband is laughing at me because I said that. Okay, so that means your last day to turn in any assignments is May the 5th. Okay, so Cole mentioned I know you guys had some storms in Oxford. I know we've had some other issues with technology. Lots of students have. I have not been strict on deadlines. Like, I've given you kind of general guidelines, like this is what you should complete this day, this is what you should complete the next day. But we really need to try to make sure, and I think everyone in the call is fine. But for the other students that aren't participating in the call, make sure that you have all your assignments turned in by May the 5th, because I have to have them graded. I have to have your grades posted. Okay?